Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, May 16, 2018. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The National Dietary Guidelines, which were developed in 2006, will be evaluated and revised over the next 2 days as a means of ensuring that the local population eats healthy. The reassessment is being done at a workshop today and tomorrow, hosted by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO. In her remarks, national correspondent for the FAO, Dr. Colleen Phillips, said the National Dietary Guidelines were developed as part of the United Nations Zero Hunger Challenge, and she commended the government for taking a holistic approach in achieving zero hunger.
We're proud because we are the first within CARICOM and the first in the English-speaking Caribbean that actually embarked upon the whole concept of formalizing something such as a parliamentary front to combat hunger. We see it is really, it is a feat because it speaks to the seriousness or to the commitment of our government, not just the party in power, but the opposition. Everybody came together to ensure that the concept of zero hunger is tackled and tackled in a real way.
Dr. Phillips said food and nutrition is a serious matter and persons must pay attention to what, where, and even with whom they eat.
The way we eat has changed. It has changed quite dramatically, just as dramatically as the electronic world. You get home and you still have a report to do and you put on your computer, and obviously you have to just pick up a sandwich because you can't use your knife and fork while you're typing. And you know, those are the things that we really need to zero in on and project to ensure that our entire nation really stops and consider what it is that we need to do to ensure that we are not only us would be properly nourished, but our children and our generation to come would be.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Raymond Ryan, underscored the need to link agriculture and food production to maintaining good nutrition and healthy living.
The government, through many instruments and strategies, continue to zero hunger and reduce undernourishment. The Ministry of Agriculture, with support from FAO, continues efforts to increase production, the quality of commodities, and the better distribution of food. I am pleased to say that under the FAO Technical Cooperation Program, support the implementation of selected activities of the National Zero Hunger Challenge Initiative Action Plan of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, an opportunity has been created to promote healthy eating habits via nutrition education, linking it to agriculture production.
Minister of Health Luke Brown called for persons to pay more attention to their nutrition and overall lifestyle choices. This comes as the Ministry of Health joins with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO, to reassess and evaluate the National Food-Based Dietary Guidelines. Minister Brown, who was speaking at the opening ceremony of the intersectorial workshop today, said this country continues to struggle with non-communicable diseases.
Health interventions for the prevention and control of non-communicable diseases would have to increasingly focus on population-based measures of community empowerment for achieving and maintaining healthy lifestyles, like healthy eating and active lifestyles. They will not only improve the health of the population, but also improve quality of health care provided for those persons already suffering from one or more non-communicable diseases. So we mustn't have a focus only on the persons who may not yet have an onset of an NCD. We must think about those who already have it. They are part of our society. They are part of our population. They need our attention and care too. So in all these deliberations, let us spare a thought for them.
Minister Brown said there has to be a multi-sectorial approach in ensuring that SVG becomes more health conscious.
And there's a concept in the literature of health in all policies. In other words, all ministries have an obligation in relation to working for health. We say in the ministry that health is a shared responsibility, shared by individuals, shared by organizations and institutions of one kind or another. So we have to work together for this purpose. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has provided national strategic leadership on diet and physical activity. To address the issue of unhealthy eating habits, in the Vincentian population, priority was given to the development of national dietary guidelines as a tool to identify the various combinations of local food that can be safely used as a guide to consumers in achieving healthy eating habits.
As the Ministry of Health continues to advocate for the prevention of NCDs and other nutrition-linked diseases, Minister Brown said that the government hopes to have the soon-to-be-open modern medical complex in Georgetown used as a chronic disease prevention center.
The formal name of the facility, which was just built, would be the Georgetown Diagnostic and Treatment Center. That is an important node in our healthcare system and is not meant to simply be a place where you go for a diagnosis and treatment, but if POW has its way, and I can't see why they wouldn't have it their way, we're going to also be able to use that as a center of excellence for chronic disease prevention. You know, it's about time that we stop just repeating what old people say about prevention is better than cure and put it into practice in a meaningful way in everything that we do.
As this country continues to record an apparent increase in reported cases of sexual violence against minors, our news team took to the streets of capital Kingston today to get the public's opinion on the matter, with most persons calling on parents to play a greater role in the protection of their children.
Sometimes they say the children things start from home. The mother ain't taking care of the children, you know, not like kind of thing there. But for you now, you got to sit down the children, talk to them.
The parents to enforce certain regulations, like in asking questions concerning if people does interfere with them or tell them anything sexual and stuff like that, you know. But first, the family need to have a connection with the Almighty, you know, because we have to go to the foundation where all things begin, and that's the only way we could maintain and, you know, keep things stable within the society. It all goes right back to God, you know. So, you know, let me lean from God a little bit.
You would first have to educate them. Not only educate them about the dangers of sex offenders, but to alert them on the signs of a sex offender. Teach them that people asking about the private parts and sexual things, like, you know, sexual gestures is wrong. Because if they don't know that it's wrong, they won't know how to, you know, avoid the situation. Also, a registry for sex offenders. I don't think that it's a bad idea, but it needs to be implemented in a way that, you know, the public is aware of what's going on.
More strict when they're going to school, on the road and things like that. You know, because the young fellas today, they're not easy to be, hard to go with.
Right, so basically saying parents should be more involved.
Yes, that's right.
Right, what do you think about the sex offenders registry? Would this assist?
Where that is concerned, you need to put them behind bars.
peace. With Jesus Christ, love would reign supreme. And we start looking out for each other's children as if they are ours, you know, then we can see when things like this are going wrong, in terms of when we see predators are preying on our younger children. We can then step in and try to prevent things from happening.
Massey Stores is discouraging the use of plastic bags by introducing reusable shopping bags at its stores as it seeks to discourage the use of plastic. The shopping bags will come at a cost which has not yet been decided. Petra Plato, marketing officer at Massey Stores SVG, said today that the company recognizes the dangers which plastic poses to the physical environment and the health of the individual, and as such will be implementing its own measures to encourage behavior change.
This project is intended to minimize the adverse effects of plastics and products that they are having on the various environments and their ecosystem. Our date that we are planning to launch the day is July 3rd, also known as International No Plastic Bag Day. So some of the objectives which we hope to achieve from D-Day is to substantially reduce and eventually eliminate the number of single-use carrier bags at Massey Stores, create a change in behavior where shoppers take reusable bags. It becomes as a norm rather than an option. I'm sure most of us here have a cell phone, and I'm sure if you're leaving your home, if you forget it, you will more than likely go back home for it. So that is the kind of impact, that is the kind of change in patterns, human patterns that we want to achieve.
Plato said that proceeds from the initiative will go to environmental groups and causes to further assist in protecting the health and well-being of the nation.
So probably a couple of weeks ago, we met some various environmental groups and government agencies to get their feedback on how things were. So now we're inviting media and some additional environmental groups, because obviously the funds the proceeds from the sale of the plastic bags will be benefiting these environmental groups. So we have identified that yes, the government, we have Ministry of Fisheries, other environmental groups, CYEN, One Drop in the Ocean, all of us can work together to make a positive change with the elimination of plastic bags in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
General Manager at Massey Stores, Vanessa D'Souza, said customers can, however, use their own bags when shopping.
But what is important to note, though, is that even though we're promoting reusable bags, we will actually be issuing plastic bags, some clear plastic bags for some items. Because, for example, if a customer comes and purchases meat and you have other products, we can't, allow the cross-contamination. So we have to actually put the meat in a clear plastic bag, and these clear bags would be throughout our stores, and these are the bags that we currently use for our produce, right? So you see these clear bags being, issued to you even, and put in the reusable bags as well.
You mentioned that because when it comes to the supermarket, 10 plastic bags, brought
No, you can bring your bags. You can bring your plastic bags, because it means that you're reusing them, and we're encouraging the reusing, right? I mean, ideally, we would love for you to get the reusable bags, and like Petra mentioned, it doesn't have to be a massy bag, because you shop at other places and you get reusable bags and so forth for free, so you can bring them into the stores and we'll pack your groceries into them.
A Vincentian boy who was regarded as a curiosity in his adopted home in the United Kingdom is to be given some dignity more than 200 years after his death. George Alexander Grafton, also known as the butterfly-spotted boy, was born in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 1808 with a skin pigmentation condition, and became part of shows put on by Mulverian John Richardson's, in which he was displayed to the public as a live curiosity piece throughout the UK. Now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' second generation, an arts and heritage organization based in the UK, has received £74,600 from the Heritage Lottery Fund for a project titled Revisiting 18th Century Vincentian Present in Marlow, Buckinghamshire. The money is raised from players of the National Lottery in the UK. The project focuses on the life of George Grafton. The research will uncover Marlow town connections to the Vincentian community within the Wickham district of Buckinghamshire. Wickham has the largest population of Vincentians in the UK. George Grafton, who died aged 4 years and 9 months, was buried in the graveyard at the All Saints Church in the UK. Today, the grave is said to be barely recognizable to the public and in need of repair to preserve the Vincentian heritage, as it is one of, if not the earliest evidence of Vincentian presence in Britain. Students of the SVG Community College are using art to illustrate some of the social ills affecting them and the society. Art students Alexandria Alexis and Joan Adams, final year students, hosted an art exhibition at the teachers' lounge of the community college today. The exhibition is the final project of their degree program. Both students spoke to SVG-TV News about what inspired their work of art and gave some advice to fellow art students.
My name is Alexandria Alexis. Practicing my art skill I started in high school, but this project started last year, September. So we did our drawing starting from then up to the resolution now. Well, my personal project came from my own experiences moving to St. Vincent from another place. So that's where my project stemmed from.
My name is Joanna Adams. What inspired me is mostly my internal environment. Child neglect, I've experienced that, and since I wanted to connect my team also to a social issue that I see isn't being depicted as much or talked about as much, like child neglect, and I wanted to connect it to the other social issues around St. Vincent to kind of give this awareness of and be this outreach to the public. Well, before I came into this program, I was kind of open-minded to anything that they would teach us. Even though I didn't really do art in secondary school, I still try my best to listen and to apply what the teacher has to teach us. So just when it comes to art, just be open-minded and be willing to work towards your goal.
Yeah, I agree with her to be open-minded. A lot of stuff works, so you just experiment and test. Don't let anybody tell you no, so you just keep trying.
Carnival Beat is coming right up. Stay with us. Welcome to Carnival Beat this evening. Renowned designer Julian Pillin Pollard has called for more appreciation to be given to the Soca art form here in SVG. In an interview with SVG-TV News this week, Pollard said that with the level of talent being displayed by various raga and Soca artists, the country should ensure that these individuals are supported and achieve excellence.
It's time that St. Vincent look to sell this soca. We have a legacy of music. We also have a long-standing legacy of mass. And it's time that, well, I don't like to use the word the government. It's time that the country look to promote more of the artists. I know there are some who have made it out there and have made it big, but there are also guys who are struggling, and every year they present their music, but they don't get the remuneration. So we are highlighting this activity, and our end result would be to see that the whole of St. Vincent pushes the music further so that more of the artists get their due.
Pollard urged artists to stay true to the art form as they are given a platform to empower others.
I must say that in looking at it, I think that the soca artists have sort of stolen a generation in that young people respond to them seriously and they tend to listen to the music very seriously. So I think that the soca artists also have to realize that with that power that they have comes a responsibility, and not everybody to me is, you know, doing what is the responsible thing. I think they, a lot of the music now seems to be just for local content, and I think that we should be more representative of St. Vincent and the values that St. Vincent would like to project.
The creative designer shares some thoughts on how the Soca Monarch product can be enhanced and the establishment of a Carnival archive.
That what happened, Trinidad took their Soca Monarch to $1 million, and that ignited the whole Caribbean. Now our guys still get, well, a small fee. But the way that music and entertainment is now, I'm hoping that in the near future that the country can see to empower the guys and the ladies a little better and add something of value to what they're getting, you know. I always am pushing that we need to have an archives because the young people come up and they tend to know what's happening now, but there's no place that they can go back to. And this archives can be, you know, on the internet, basically, where they can go and look up what happened in the past and relate themselves, because without a sense of what happened, you don't have a sense of where you're going to.
Elroy Blondybird Boyd is a strong believer of the traditional mass, despite the seeming trend towards feather mass. Boyd, the leader of the mass camp Blondybird and Friends, told SVG-TV's Nikita Tony today that he will ensure that these traditions are passed on for generations to come.
Known as one of the top mass bands here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Blondybird Mass Camp is hoping to regain the top spot in the Band of the Year competition as they present for 2018 Phobia. With 85% of this year's production already completed, Blondybird today expressed confidence in regaining the Band of the Year title in 2018, having been dethroned by SVG Players International last year.
Don't be hard because we're friends instead of just Carnival. We just do right wrong the year, so it's easy to. The challenge where we just have a place to build like our king and queen. We have here and we actually occupying, you know, come from the native BMC. So, but them place, if you notice, them place is done full up. Right? So we now get a place, agriculture in front of agriculture by the beach monkey. So we're now moving into that day by next weekend, this weekend, next weekend, we're going to be moving into that to start our main full costume.
Boyd gave an insight into the 2018 team Phobia, stating that the band has decided to stick with a traditional style.
It's scary. So like we kind of do things, phobia, things that we can show people kind of scared about and them kind of thing. So especially now with the lionfish, they used to steal a people toys like long time we don't win it every year. Because we're a people band. And we still bring in mass as how people do it before with the creativity and the idea. I can't vex the way the younger generation going. I can't vex with that, right? Because it's a thing that was the only thing I'm trying to do is see if I could keep our country on the right foot so we could still teach people to still bring this kind of mass. Because I know after a while the other mass will fade out.
Blondybird is confident that the band will remain the top choice for Vincy Mass 2018.
And Tongue Hill, right? And we there up the road, BMC agencies next to BMC. We could be up at the agriculture. Our band going sweet, people could see as usual. You can watch me next week in the Calico Carnival and you can see some of the other costumes. And we have a fan base, and we're looking forward to them. Right now, the mask going fast. Right, the mask going fast. As you could see down there in the menu, you see the kind of product we have. So people actually coming in and actually see how the mask going real good. I like how it's going now between the young people and the older folks. The older folks now say, yeah, boy, you cover up, I could play mask with you, right? And then we still have mask for the young generation. Because we have a mask called the Future of Carnival. We're trying to pick and show people how Carnival will go. And that is what make me scary.
Catering for some 400 masqueraders, the Blondie Birds and Friends Mask Band is inviting each and every Vincentian and visitors alike to come out and conquer their fairs as they revel on the streets Carnival Tuesday in Phobia. Reporting for Carnival Beat, I am Nikita Tony.